If you're starting a nonprofit and feeling like you're juggling a gazillion jobs at once, you're not alone. It's not unusual for nonprofit founders or leaders to feel like 1 minute you're inspiring people with your mission, and the next you're knee deep in spreadsheets or designing your next social media post. That's why in this episode of Changemaker Cafe, we're going to talk about the 3 hats every nonprofit leader wears: the mission champion, the manager, and the marketer. And we'll talk about how you can assess your leadership strengths so you can figure out how to delegate and grow your organization without burning out. As always, let me know what you think about this topic in the comments, and if you find it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to more of my videos on nonprofit leadership, fundraising, and social impact. I want to acknowledge something first. As a long-time do-everything myselfer, I just want to say I totally get the inclination to try to be and do everything for your organization as a nonprofit leader or founder. But I also know, again, from personal experience, that trying to do everything yourself makes you less efficient, less effective, and ultimately less happy. Nonprofit work isn't designed legally or philosophically to be done by just one person. Research from Gallup's Clifton Strengths and the Harvard Business Review shows that people who understand and use their strengths in their roles are 6 times more likely to be engaged in their work and lead teams that are more productive and satisfied. And according to a Stanford Social Innovation Review study on nonprofit leadership, founder burnout and unclear role distribution are 2 of the top reasons that young nonprofits fail to grow. So all of that is to say, I don't view this self-awareness as a luxury, but rather a survival skill. When you know which leadership hat fits you best, you can lead from your strengths and surround yourself with people who complement your weaker areas. And if you caught my other video on nonprofit sustainability, you know how important that is to be able to grow your organization. So now, all of that said, I'm going to break down the 3 main leadership hats you'll wear as a nonprofit founder or leader and talk about how we can do some delegating. The first hat is the mission champion. And if you're a nonprofit founder or executive director, this might be the role that you feel most naturally in. This is the person who knows everything there is to know about the problem in your community that your nonprofit aims to solve. You know the facts and the figures about the social issue like the back of your hand. You can explain the root causes of these social problems, who is impacted by these problems, and some of the solutions out there that are working or not working to address these problems. You're passionate about making sure everyone around you understands the social issue like you do and mobilizing them to action about it. You're the voice of your cause, and you thrive when speaking to groups, inspiring people, or reminding everyone of the why behind your mission. In summary, you might be a mission champion if you have a long-term vision for the cause. You feel energized sharing your story or talking with supporters. You'd rather be out in the community than behind a desk. You're motivated by connecting people to a bigger purpose. However, as this role, you might struggle with administrative details, the day-to-day minutia that still needs to get done to keep the organization running smoothly. You might struggle with creating structures or systems. When you're focused on the big issue and vision, it might feel overwhelming to have to pause and create infrastructure to support your momentum. You might struggle with managing people day to day. Speaking from personal experience, it can be hard to not understand if someone doesn't quickly get it when you are introducing them to the cause and your goals. Motivating them to care is one thing. Managing them to get work done to help the cause, I have learned, is another thing. I'm curious if this is you. Let me know in the comments, and I wonder if just a lot of our viewers feel like this is the hat that fits them best. Now, as I kind of alluded to, this role really resonates with me personally. I much prefer to be out there sharing my cause than dealing with the operations side of things. So I struggled for a while in my own organization with having to spend some of my time as a founder dealing with the administrative parts. So what can you do? If this sounds like you, I do have a few tips for you based on what I've learned. First, it's really important to identify and partner with a manager type who can keep systems, budgets, and logistics running. Also, I found that time blocking can be immensely helpful. So, what you can do is schedule specific in the weeds days or blocks of time for operational work. That way, your creative energy isn't constantly interrupted and you aren't getting swamped by the administrative tasks that keep falling behind because you're ignoring them. Another thing you can do is help train a few other people, board members, staff, or volunteers to be mission champions like yourself so that you can kind of share the load a bit. You can document your key messages, the stories, the key phrases, the talking points that you use so that others on your team can help amplify your mission even when you're not in the room. The second leadership hat nonprofit founders and leaders often have to wear is the manager, and it is a big hat to fill. The manager hat is all about the operations side of the organization. And there are two parts to this: managing operations and managing people. Being a manager is about making sure programs run smoothly, finances are stable, resources are managed wisely, and your team knows what they're doing and are working harmoniously with each other. You're passionate about making sure things are running smoothly and efficiently, understanding and organizing information, and making sure your team feels empowered and equipped to do their jobs. If a mission champion envisions the future, then the manager is the one skilled at turning that vision into a real plan. But if you lean heavily into this hat, you might find yourself spending so much time maintaining systems that you kind of lose touch with the community or the big picture storytelling aspects of this work. So you might be a manager if you love organizing and systems and getting things done efficiently. If you notice gaps in processes and immediately feel compelled to fix them, you maybe find satisfaction in seeing projects run on time and under budget. You're excited by setting goals and identifying priorities. However, you might struggle with micromanaging. It might feel hard to let things go or let go of control or trust others to do things the right way. You might find yourself double checking every detail or doing tasks yourself instead of delegating. Over focusing on the process is another weakness. Doing this instead of focusing on your people is when things can go wrong. When efficiency or systems are your superpower, it's easy to forget that people sometimes need encouragement, not just checklists. You might avoid risk or innovation because you value stability. You might struggle to see the longer term vision because you're getting stuck in maintenance mode. You might have difficulty telling your story. Managers are often more comfortable behind the scenes and may struggle to champion the mission publicly or inspire donors emotionally. You might not communicate enough about what you're doing. You might think everyone already knows how much work goes into keeping things organized, but funders, board members, and others often aren't seeing all that behind the scenes effort unless you tell them. You might forget to celebrate wins. I know I'm guilty of this. When your mind is always on what's next or what needs fixing, you might skip acknowledging progress, which honestly can affect team morale and your own morale. If this sounds like you as a nonprofit leader, here are a few tips that I have for you. You want to be able to identify and empower your mission champion teammates to handle the outward facing work like presentations or community outreach. And this allows you to focus on ensuring programs are consistent and compliant. Also, lean into technology where you can. You might use project management tools like Asana or Monday.com or Notion or Trello to streamline communication with others on your team and free up brain space for strategic thinking. Once people know clearly what's expected of them, you can do less micromanaging and more of that long-term strategy that we talked about. Also, if creating marketing tasks aren't your strong suit, see if you can delegate or outsource those projects like social media, email design, or donor storytelling to maybe a skilled volunteer or even a contractor. Now, the third hat nonprofit leaders all wear, even if they'd never really call themselves this, is marketers. And here's why. We're living in a digital world where there's a lot of noise to cut through. Even mission champions can't cut through the noise to get visibility for your cause on their passion alone. So I like to think of the marketer role as a combo of the communication skills of the mission champion, but with the tactical know-how of the manager. While the mission champion focuses on why your cause matters and inspiring people with that bigger purpose, the marketer is going to focus on how to reach people and what messages or tools are actually going to grab and keep their attention. The marketer thinks about where to tell your story, how to package and position it, and how to reach more of the right people through social media, email, or campaigns that catch attention. If this is you, you're the one excited about what your nonprofit's website will look like. You're the one remembering to get photos at the events and capture testimonials from clients. So you might be a marketer if you love finding creative ways to spread the word. You're intrigued by messaging your mission to different types of audiences. You're constantly asking, how can more people know about this? You're curious about social media trends or storytelling psychology or design tools. You get a little excited tracking website views and analytics and engagement. However, you might struggle with measuring what really matters. Likes and views feel good, but they don't always equal donations or volunteer signups or lasting engagement or impacts. You need to be able to tie marketing and outreach efforts to the other kinds of results for the cause. You might also be guilty of overlooking internal audiences. Sometimes marketers focus so much on reaching the public that they forget to keep the staff, the board, or the volunteers in the loop, even though these folks are already your most loyal audience. You might underestimate the time that marketing takes. Creating good content, graphics, or campaigns often takes longer than expected. I know for a fact from personal experience. So if you're a nonprofit leader, you probably have other things you need to be doing other than marketing. Don't get sucked into this. You might forget to make the ask. Storytelling feels natural, but can be harder to transition from raising awareness to directly asking for support. Marketers help shape your organization's brand and keep it visible, but they can sometimes get caught up in doing all the things without connecting it back to strategy. If this sounds like you as a nonprofit leader, here are a few tips that I have for you. You want to be taking care to intentionally anchor every marketing effort to your mission and the ultimate community impact goals of the organization, not what is just trendy at that moment. This could look like tracking engagement metrics that connect to your organization's programmatic or fundraising goals, like how many people signed up to volunteer, how many donated, how many came to events, not just likes or follows. You also want to be experimenting with repurposing your content. Turn one story into a blog post, newsletter snippet, or social post. This works really well because people don't often see the content the first time it's posted, so sharing it again in another format can really help drive that message home. Now, regardless of what hat you wear, sharing and growing a nonprofit could feel overwhelming. There's so much to set up. But when it comes to collecting donations online, you don't need to wait until you're big or all organized to get the right tools in place. That's why I want to thank our sponsor, Click and Pledge, for making it easy for new and growing nonprofits to start strong and scale with confidence. Click and Pledge gives you professional grade tools for super affordable startup level costs from day one. They've got customizable donation forms that you can plug right into your website. And these forms are often the foundation of any good online fundraising strategy, so your marketer will get real excited. But Click and Pledge has a number of other tools included in their affordable flat monthly costs that you can use to grow as your organization does. It's got in-person and peer-to-peer fundraising features, so you can mobilize people to go fundraise for you, video fundraising with embedded donation links, text-to-give tools, donor management tools, Salesforce, and other integrations. And these are all included with no contracts or surprise add-on fees. Here's what I love most though. Unlike some platforms that increase your fees as you grow, Click and Pledge pricing stays the same, whether you have 10 donors or 10,000. So you can use the QR code or link in the description to check out Click and Pledge now and book a demo or talk to their team and get your first $25 monthly fee waived, and come back and let me know what you thought. So I want to talk a little bit about delegating, because here's the truth. No one wears all three hats well at once, and trying to do it all is the fastest path to burnout. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience here. So what we want to do is take an inventory of our natural skills and interests within these three roles. Write it down if you have to. Which one feels most natural to you right now? Mission champion, manager, or marketer? For example, if I had to guess, I'd say I'm about 50% mission champion, 20% manager, and 30% marketer at this point in my life. So once you know which role makes up your majority, you can brainstorm ways you can delegate tasks that fall under the other two roles effectively. And if everyone on your team, staff, board, core volunteers, if they all assess themselves, you'll be able to quickly see how to redistribute tasks to play to everyone's strengths also. So to do this, you might use a simple org chart to clarify who is responsible for each hat, so to say. Create shared folders or checklists so that the tasks don't only live in your head like we talked about before. You might empower your board members or other staff or volunteers by giving them ownership over specific hat duties like marketing committees or finance liaisons. This can really clarify roles and help people feel excited about their unique contributions to the work. Use these findings for board meetings and governance too. Once your board members know which hat they wear most, it's going to make your governance more effective and your meetings more strategic. Like we said in the beginning, every nonprofit leader wears all three hats sometimes, but the key is to not wear them all perfectly. It's to know which one fits you best so you can build a team that fills in the rest. So tell me, which hat are you wearing most often right now? Mission champion, manager, marketer? Drop it in the comments. I really do read all of the comments and I'm curious, so let me know. And if this video helped you, give it a like so that YouTube shares it with more nonprofit leaders like yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe for more content every week on how to build a sustainable, impactful nonprofit organization. I'm Amber Melanie Smith. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye.